Welcome to Hello Chaos, the show where founders, innovators, and chaotic minds get real, get unfiltered about the mess, the magic, and the mayhem of entrepreneurship. I'm JJ, your host and fellow work in progress. And today we welcome Anna Rodriguez. She is the co founder of Inbite, calling out of Boca Raton, Florida. Welcome to the show, Anna.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. It's a real pleasure. Thank
You
you.
are welcome. I was looking up all about Inbite, and you have a very interesting background in food and manufacturing. And I'm excited to hear your story. So, just start out. What inspired you to start your own company? How did you get into this?
Wow. Okay. Long story because I've been an entrepreneur all my life. I
Really?
graduated from college and it's like I was a black sheep among the group. Let's say I was the only one that I had a job offer, but I didn't take it.
Whoa.
So my mom was about to push me out of the 8th floor. She saw me begin my first company, which was called Nomad. It was a backpack and bag company that we started out in South America, my husband and I.
Oh,
And I was I was with scissors in my hand and making backpacks, and it was kind of crazy because I had an offer in a really good company as an industrial engineer. And that's when we started. It was 1990. I really started in 1993. And my
okay.
thesis was about the feasibility of this company. And it was a wild ride from the beginning because the country that I'm talking about is Venezuela. And we went into a hyperinflation during my thesis. So imagine a feasibility project with hyperinflation
Right.
and you couldn't forecast actually. So I got to the day where I had to present my thesis, and it was wild because forecasting was like, well, if this happens, or maybe this happens, or
Right.
maybe this happens, right? So in 1993, I started. We moved in 2006 to the U.S. and we started thinking that we could export whatever we were doing in Venezuela.
Hmm.
And we started selling our products here, so it was really cool. But obviously, the president of Venezuela had different things in his mind,
Right.
and he had forbidden to export more than $5,000.
Ah,
So that's when it started like to
we
crawl
we got to
for us.
shift. We got to pivot. What do we do? What are we
Exactly.
doing?
What do we do? And at that time, I had my 3 kids. They were ages 8, 6, and 4.
Hmm. Oh my
And
gosh.
I didn't want to get into a job and leaving them because Giancarlo would have to travel back and forth still. And I started making cookies, which by chance were gluten-free. And at that time, gluten-free in Miami was like, what is this?
Non-existent. Yeah, back then.
No, I
Yeah.
would go to Hialeah and they speak Spanish and they were like, what the freaking hell is gluten-free? I mean, no
Right.
way. And I remember leaving the shops, but still selling my cookies and crying out, right? Like, oh my God, what am I doing? Okay. So I'd say Inbite really started in 2010. And it did not start before because during the first years, we were thinking we were going to be able to pull off um, exports from the company we had in
Yeah.
South America. When we realized that, I started by myself doing like everything. I would cook. At the beginning, we would basically rent out time in bakeries. Okay.
Yeah.
And we had two
Like a
bakeries.
shared kitchen. Yeah. Yeah. Because
Exactly.
you had to do it in a commercial kitchen and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so we really did a good design. One of the things that we did right at that time was make a good box and a good packaging
Mm.
and go to the shops and ask them to be placed in the register or where the people are going to see that
Right.
box. So friends of ours were telling us, "Oh my God, you guys are everywhere." And it wasn't true, but we were doing something right. And then the first, can I say it? Shitty moment?
Yeah. Please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The first one arrived when, shelf life exploded inside the
Oh,
packaging, right? And we knew nothing about that, like 0.
yeah.
So we started, like, taking them off the shelves and trying to scratching our heads like,
Right.
"Okay,
How do we
we
keep
have
this thing
something, but
on so that
how
we
do"
don't kill people?
Exactly. Well, we wouldn't kill people because it was mold, but,
Oh,
first learning was hard, right?
yeah.
So we did go back and reformulate it, and, there's, something called, it's benders that you place into the bags, and basically they,
Okay.
take out the oxygen out of the bag, right?
Mm,
So that's when we started studying, "Oh, okay, we need to figure this out."
right. Now,
Um,
because at this point you're like, "Hey, we're diving into this business. Like this is because now you're learning all about food, manufacturing, packaging. I mean, you're all
exactly.
in." That
Yeah, we're all in. One of the things we did at that time to solve the problem, like, without anybody noticing was, like, we knew we have 45 days.
Right.
So if there was something left in the shelves after 45 days, we would come, "Oh, we're gonna rotate this, so that you have it
Mhm.
fresh, blah, blah, blah." And we would take it out. And while we were trying to figure out what to do, because we didn't know what to do,
Right.
okay? Then the second shitty
Well,
moment was like
well,
no, they came all along, right? So
they come
we
every day sometimes, right?
well well, yeah. Yeah, now that you mentioned. So the next one was we realized while, trying to figure out the shelf life, we realized that the light incidence in the cookies
Mm,
would, make the color fade,
yeah.
okay? And we didn't want that. So we decided to close our packaging, no window. First, you would see the cookie, and then we basically redesign. And we said to ourselves, "Oh my god, this is so cool. We nailed it," right? And we had solved the shelf life issue,
Yeah,
and we had solved the decoloring issue in the
right.
product, and, they weren't selling. And I
Because they
call a
couldn't
friend.
because they couldn't see it?
Exactly. So
Oh.
I call a friend in marketing and I'm like, "Just answer one question.
Mhm.
Like, if I change the design from a window in my cookies and now you don't see the cookie,
Yeah,
what happens?" She's like, "Nobody's gonna buy it."
right.
I'm like, "Why?" You know? So, okay, another one for the notebook.
That's right.
I'm gonna say this, when it happens, you feel like the end of the world.
Yeah,
But if you take it as a moment of learning and you quickly change it
right.
into, okay, this is
It
of the learning curve. And I knew nothing about this, even though I'm industrial engineer. And I did do plenty of work previous in a
right.
couple of food industries, but you know, shelf life, I mean, no. Um, so
But that's the I think that's the, I don't know, like the trait of the founder, that the innovator, the we have this little grit and a drive. It's a we're constant problem solving, right? And it's we
and
don't
that's
look at it
good.
as like, oh no, those guys like, nope. All right, how do we tackle this? How do we
Exactly.
tackle this?
Exactly. And I'm gonna say this, it's been already 30 years as an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And one of my learnings also is, well, you can pivot many times. There are times where no, you just don't have to do it. You
Mm,
probably have to drop it, right? And that's also a learning. I'm not here to say that, take everything positive, blah, blah,
right.
blah. Sometimes you take a step back and really look at it and see, okay, am I pushing too hard? And is this
Mm,
push worth it? Because there's a ton of energy that, especially mentally, you leave into every problem that you need
right.
to solve, right?
Right.
Well, we solved that out. The cookie started selling, and it happened that we started getting calls from smaller entrepreneurs into, "Oh, can you do my bar? Can you do
Mm,
my bread? Can you do this?" And at that moment, we already had our own small facility. It was about, I don't know, maybe 1,000 square feet.
Hmm.
okay, with a small oven.
Right.
But we knew a lot of logistics and let's say production.
Right.
So if we figured out the logistics and timing, we could do it. And the model that was presented to us of co-manufacturing and at the same time doing our brand was just the same model we had applied before in our previous entrepreneurship.
Hmm.
So to us, it made total sense of doing that.
Right.
And that's how we started growing
Hmm.
because I'm going to say this, we started growing more when we started co-manufacturing because we didn't have to put any money into marketing, um, distribution or anything.
Right.
It was just making it and shipping it out to our clients and great deal. Um, but then, things when I think growth makes things complicated. So we
Right.
started growing,
We
you know,
we we call it the was it new level, new devil?
yeah, well, I'm going to write that down. I didn't know that phrase, but I do need it. Cause I've been telling this to Giancarlo lately. So our next jump in growth, meant for another bad moment, which was that the landlord we had in this facility offered us a bigger one,
Hmm.
and it looked more industrial. We were like, oh my God, a dream come true. What? And he was like, yeah, you move in there. I'm going to give it to you ready. And that's it. And we believed it, right? Because the first one, we didn't have any problem.
Right.
So we give them the deposit, everything. And when you have a food facility, you have to go through a bunch of permits first. We go there to the facility and we wait for the city to approve. And the city to approve means about 7 people that are going to come in and check some stuff.
Hmm.
Number 1 comes in, good. Number 2, number 3 comes in and he's like, nah, you're not going to be able to work here. What?
What?
Like, why?
Yeah.
Well, because the building has no permits. We're like, what? Are you sure about this? I mean, and our previous lease was off. I mean, we had finished it because we were
Right.
moving into this new facility.
Oh
You
my
know,
God, that's a wall.
that was a big wall because and the fourth guy came in and reinstated, you're not going to be able to work here because this was done without permits. It has no building permits. You have
Hmm.
no electrical permits. In fact, the building might just burn because you don't have electrical capacity for what you need here,
Hmm.
right? Well, that was, I mean, that was like the moment you say, wow, do I go forward or what am
Right.
I doing, right? But at that time, Giancarlo was already like halfway into it also,
Hmm.
okay, which means, you got to put money in the table to eat.
Right.
And we had 2 kids in college already, or about.
Yeah. Right.
I mean,
Right.
at least
You're
one of them was in college. So we were like, oh my God, okay, how do we figure this one out? Fortunately enough, our previous facility, we had talked with the current tenant. Can you allow us to work here while you move in?
hmm.
And he said yes. So we had about, I'm going to say 6 months, okay, working there, cleaning, while this new tenant would come in and work in the nights because it was a different food company.
Right.
And we would look like crazy everywhere in South Florida to see if something appeared. One day we did find one in Boca. And that day I was driving, I called the landlord of the new facility and I say, I'm looking for this. And he's like, well, I have one that's going to be empty because I'm up till here. Right now it's a co-working space and I don't want that. And I'm like, okay, I want it. And I hadn't seen it, but I needed it, right? And it was bigger than mine. So within 3 weeks, we were moved in and, okay. And we started breathing again on that side. On the other side, we lost about $25,000 because,
Oh.
our old landlord was just a thief, you know, and $25,000 for the stage we were at, it was a whole bunch of money. It's
Yeah,
always a whole bunch of money.
that's
But
right.
at that stage, it was like, okay, how are we going to recover from this? Fortunately enough, we were moving to a bigger facility because we already had a co-ma- uh, uh, co-manufacturing job that was pretty big for us to allow that growth. So that was that phase. Then, oh my God. I mean, you're never going to stop here, right? So our
No,
best clients um, were pretty much online sales.
right.
Two big companies that were working in the keto low carb space, like huge. We would ship pallets, weekly pallets out of our facility. COVID came in,
Mm,
and I remember when COVID came in, I was like, okay, maybe, we're going to have to shut down. But that first year was great, like keto and low carb and anything that had to do with low whatever skyrocket.
yeah,
But at the same time, Apple changed their iOS, not allowing Facebook to do whatever they were doing for free. So because those clients would sell online and they mainly relied on Facebook, and also I have to say, keto market was like exploding in products. Like everybody was doing that.
yeah. The gluten-free keto. Did that
That
really
was,
spark at 2020, or was that climbing before then?
it
Or
wasn't really. I mean, nobody was paying attention.
that's
I mean,
okay.
my two clients had the market,
Mm,
okay, basically. And then COVID came in. I'm going to say 2021, I was like, wow, there's too many, right? 2022, it exploded.
ugh,
Like they weren't the only ones anymore. There were like 1,000
the
more.
noise. Yeah.
Then Facebook, and then, I mean, the perfect bomb exploded. And I have to say, from 8 pallets that we would ship weekly, it was two,
Mm,
one, and then four a month. I mean, it went bad.
right.
So,
And
picking up,
And I think that's a lesson. We see that from other brands and founders of people see growth because the market's there and there's no competition. But as soon as competition or noise, that's when a lot of people don't like. Let me get clarity around what my business is. Let me figure out, am I spending in the right place? And I think your customers are an example of where things can go wrong if you don't really have a strategy or an action plan that's just beyond if I put it out there they'll come because there's nobody else in the space,
exactly.
right?
And also from, let's say, our side, and I'm going to say this because you have to learn a lesson out of everything,
Yeah.
even if you don't continue, right? From our side was like, we were in a comfort zone.
Mm,
And if you're into this, I don't think you can ever be in a comfort zone.
right.
Maybe when you retire, okay, but not if you're into the food business. And if you are in a comfort zone, start thinking about it,
Mm,
and move your butt because it's not going to happen that way.
right.
So it was a revelation of, okay, we were in a comfort zone. We did not want to get out of the comfort zone, but if we want to continue, what are we going to do? And I'm going to say this, and not in a despective way, but keto and paleo, they were pretty simple to manufacture
Mm,
comparing to the real deal of bakery gluten-free products. So at that time, even though we knew a lot, we knew very little
mm,
of what really gluten-free means and gluten-free manufacturing. So we got out of our comfort zone and we started looking for training because I was the kind of person that when I got married, I didn't know how to fry an egg. Okay.
mm,
But I started becoming a baker, right?
right.
Out of necessity and out of necessity,
Yeah.
basically. So, but I was not a real baker or a complete baker if I didn't know how to handle other type of diets or other type of
Right.
doughs. And We started training in Europe where we found uh, professors. We did
Mm.
not find them here somehow, but we found them there. And we would go 3, 4 times a year training. And then,
Like almost become
um,
like a scientist in gluten-free.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think what matched here with us, and I'm going to say that we were lucky, was two things. First of all, Giancarlo, my husband and partner, he, in his industrial career, he studied a lot of processing mechanics machines.
Hmm.
So that made sense.
Did you guys meet in college? Were you guys
Yeah.
both industrial engineers?
Yeah. We met in
Uh,
college.
That's
Yeah.
good.
He graduated 2 years ahead.
Oh,
But it's a small college. Venezuela
right.
doesn't have big colleges like here. So, and on the other side, my I'm not going to say expertise, but what I studied more, because we have 5 years of career and we see a lot of things in common, but then you can
Mm,
choose some things. So I have chosen marketing, chemistry, and physics.
mm.
And it made sense, and I started putting in place more of the visualizing part when I was
Yeah.
mixing. I have a visual memory, but I don't have more memory. Like if you tell me something 5 minutes later, I probably forgot. But if I see it, I'll remember. So I had an encyclopedia in my mind of how flowers behave, gums behave. And while training, everything started to make sense. And we picked up from that fall. We learned. We started getting other type of clients. Okay. And seeing that if you're going to co-manufacture, you need in your basket several type of clients from several type of markets. Let's
Yeah.
say I might be doing a bar, a cookie, and a bread at the
Mm,
same time. So we have 3 lines operating
mm.
maybe in one day, right? We try not to schedule that way, but it might happen that we have 2 lines that at
Right.
the same time we're making cakes and we're making bars. Okay. Um, so that was a pickup.
So,
I'm gonna say um we're still in growth and learning, what's the next chapter
yeah.
for
Well,
Inbite. Last year we decided to bring our brand back.
mm,
We had left it in a closet because at some point we didn't have enough capacity to do the brand and to do other brands.
right.
And we didn't feel that we were honoring for our brand. We said to ourselves one thing: everybody has to eat it. You don't have to be a celiac, right? So I have
Right.
to manufacture gluten-free products for everyone. Today we were having coffee with one of our cookies. Like,
Mm.
my breakfast was a coffee with a cookie.
It's my
And
favorite breakfast.
nice. And Giancarlo said to me, you know, 2 years ago, this wasn't happening.
Mm,
We were eating our cookies, but not wanting to eat maybe another one.
mm.
Right now, I want 2, I want 3, I want more.
Right.
Okay. And I'm not a celiac. So we had left the brand in the closet while we were starting to develop our formulas, but perfecting our
Mm,
formulas from our point of view. Because
right.
perfection, there's nothing perfect, right? But from our point of view,
You're
was
refining it. You're yeah, getting it. You are kind of perfecting it in a way. And
yeah, in our
yeah.
own way, right? So right now we are pushing our brand in South Florida
Mm,
because we learned also a lot of other things from clients, like issues with distribution, right?
right.
Issues with brokers, issues with supermarkets. And we decided to take a slow pace.
Mm,
So we're starting in South Florida with our brand. We do have a big line of products, okay? And probably our next learning is going to be that we're not going to be able to do them all because there
mm.
are too many.
Yeah.
And we're going to have to pick and choose which one goes first. Right now, we are distributing out of maybe 20 products that we have, I'm gonna say 12,
Mm,
which is a lot,
yeah.
okay? And we're trying to push, more products into food service from our brand. Well, at the same time, doing private label, a lot of private labor,
Mm,
um, less startups because that's also for us
volatile. Yeah.
a learning curve, like a big one. Okay.
Talk about, so you were helping other startups
Yeah.
manufacture their products and kind of being their kind of a co-manufacturer
Yeah. Yeah. That
of
that
that.
was mainly our business.
Mm,
Okay. Right now we're more focused on private label from a supermarket or from a bigger brand than in startups because startups has a previous phase, which is helping that startup get to the first stage, which
right.
is, your product is ready. And we were finding that there's a whole bunch of startups that have a product or they think they have a product, but it's not
It's
ready
not
to
ready for
be.
market.
It
Mm,
has issues in the manufacturing lines. They
mm,
don't have the packaging. They don't have design. So it's not that we don't want to do them, but at the stage we are right now, and we need a lot of focus
mm,
and choosing our focus, let's just say, we decided, okay, this year we're going to focus on our brand, making it good, okay, in
right.
every single way, the wow experience for any type of client that we have. And also making that wow experience for our private label brands,
Yeah.
which is what we want to focus on this year. Next year, I'll tell you a different story, maybe. Who knows?
That's right. It's all about the pivot. If so, as part of this kind of your lessons learned of your journey, um, what surprised you the most? Like, what was your biggest aha of, this is what we got to do? Um,
Well, our biggest aha it was when that cookie happened to be in a niche, which was
mm,
gluten free. And even though we saw that it was a huge challenge, we said, but it's a niche. So
mm,
if it's a niche, it's really interesting because I can be here trying to sell any type of cookie, right?
right.
And I have a million brands to compete with. But in an age, maybe I have 100,000,
Mm,
it's not that much. And if I manage to do it the way I think, the way I envision, maybe I get a chance. So you gamble with it, right?
mm.
There's a lot of gambling here from entrepreneurs. And that's what we did. We didn't even know what gluten-free was, but we landed there and we said, okay, let's just do it. We needed to start something or go find a job elsewhere.
Right, right. it what's been the biggest like um I don't know, myth buster of, you came from already, having another business,
Mm.
the nomad, and then doing, food business. What was like the biggest like surprise to you or kind of myth buster of I thought it was going to be like this, but it's not.
Exactly. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you exactly. I thought food was going to be easier than making backpacks, like way easier. I said, everybody has to eat. This is a piece of cake. And it's the contrary, I have to say. It's way easier to make a backpack. You don't have to think on safety. You do have to think on quality, but not as much as food, okay?
Mm,
Because you're eating something. It goes into the body of a person,
right.
You have a huge responsibility in your shoulders. If I make a backpack and it breaks, the warranty will cover.
Yeah.
But if I make food and it's bad, there's a
Right.
whole process that you don't want to do.
Right.
And it can get pretty ugly.
Yeah. Um, what did you find out about yourself? Like, what was the most surprising thing that you found out about yourself, or maybe the relationship between you and your husband throughout this process?
Everything is a revelation. About myself is that I I have more perseverance than I thought.
Mm,
Maybe too much sometimes. Yeah, because I'm like I don't know.
You're like headstrong. We're going. We're doing it.
Yeah, but I bump into too many walls many times, and that's something that I'm still trying to learn. Which wall do I want to bump to? Not 20 of them.
Yeah.
So I have a ton of perseverance, and that doesn't mean it's great. It's great sometimes. Many times it might not be that great. And then with my husband is that it's amazing how we've handled through 30 years,
Mm-hmm.
over 30 years, because we started before getting married. Um, Seeing each other and talking, 24/7 about common things, right? Because we've worked together all our lives.
Right.
And even if in some moments we've had different tasks, or he's traveling or I'm traveling, it's 24/7. And how our relationship in work is one thing. And then we go out there and we're husband and wife. So for many friends, including, that's pretty weird. Like,
Yeah.
the
How do you
first,
set how did you guys establish the boundaries? Did you guys have to actually talk about it? Like, these are the boundaries we're going to set, or did it just come natural?
we never talked about it,
Hmm.
honestly. But I think we started realizing that if we talked about work getting out, we wouldn't have a nice conversation because you're tired, you
Right.
know. Um, and I'm going to say, I recall this in our early years, like, that we started fighting because of work and then we
Mm-hmm.
stopped. And like I said, we didn't talk about it, but I guess we both realized it. And to this day, we don't talk about it. We get out of the office, period. We go play pickleball, we'll go to the beach. No,
Yeah.
no talking about Inbite, whatever happens.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. And I was like, so do you guys divvy up your roles of you handle these things? What does he handle?
He's all into production lines.
Okay.
Okay. He's all into quality and safety. Right now, he's handling our next step, which is SQF.
Mm.
Okay. We're hoping to get certified, at least at the beginning of quarter 3. And that's a huge step for the size of the company that we have.
Yeah.
Now you're going to ask, why are you doing this? I'm asking that today too.
I was like, Chandler's over here. Chandler came from the food manufacturing industry, so he's over here going, "Yes, it is. It's big."
No, sometimes I do wonder why we do these things and we put such a huge weight in our shoulders.
Yeah.
Two things I'm going to say. First of all, I think it hits the pride of any industrial engineer.
Mm.
And that sucks to say because we shouldn't work that way, but it does. And the second thing, we're really doing it because our goal this year is to work with a couple of supermarkets that we have rolling projects with. Okay. And the only way to get in is having SQF.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I
that's
mean,
why,
it's a milestone. It's credibility. It brings,
yeah,
some authority there of, yeah. It's
yeah.
a huge milestone. It's not an ego thing. Come on. That's like it, it's the next step in the
I
business.
mean, I'm saying an ego because it's part of what you saw 5 years of school. I mean, they train you in your mind to follow steps like this.
Yeah.
And every time I grab the manual, I'm like, okay, this was, I don't know, second semester in school, third, fourth, fifth. I go back in time and I'm like, okay, we've seen this. We're already gluten-free certified, and there are
Mm.
many things alike SQF. Um, SQSF is something we had in our minds for a long while, but we were kind of postponing while at the same time getting ready for it. So even though we weren't thinking on doing it, we were already preparing for that
Yeah.
step. But we thought to ourselves, okay, we're going to do SQF when we grow more, on sales, because it would make more sense.
Right.
And that didn't happen. We were approached by 2 supermarkets and they said, we want this product.
Mm.
Can you make it? We said, yes. Okay. But to move forward, you need this. So it's a gamble again. We're throwing the dice and seeing what happens.
Right. Right.
We're more than ready. Actually, on Monday, we're going to be pre-audited. And from that, we should see if we're going to call the auditor, if we're ready for that, or if we need to work a little bit more here.
Yeah. Oh, you mentioned pickleball. So are you guys
Yeah.
big pickleball people?
Like destroying ourselves with that.
Are you now, as you and your husband, also pickleball
Yeah.
partners?
We are. Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
We don't play all the time together and that's another funny thing, you know. There are some days where we look at each other and we put the paddles in different spots because we always do open plays. Okay.
Uh,
And we're like, okay, this is a day where I don't want to play with him. He doesn't want to play with me because if we do, we're going to
we're,
fight.
we're gonna kill each other. Yeah.
We're going to kill each other, not the opponents, but each other.
Right. Do you guys have like even more fun jokes around the kitchen? Stay out of the kitchen. And
Y-
in, you know,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Yeah. Or, I mean, the way we're playing now, we figure that I'm the good in the kitchen and he's the good from the
from
rest of
the
the
rest of the.
yeah, he'll handle the smashing part, I'll handle the kitchen.
Now, are you guys in a competition play, or do you just kind of go
Well,
and
we do
leisure play?
open play, but let me tell you this, Boca's really competitive.
Is it?
Like
So
I don't know.
so you know the U.S. Open pickleball championships are next week, and did you see that Andre Agassi has been picked up as a partner to play? Um, Chandler's like, you don't know who Andre Agassi is?
He was a tennis player.
he was a tennis player, like U.S. Open championship
Yeah.
tennis player that has now been pulled in with, and his partner is, I can't remember her name. It's like Anna something, something, something. So
Oh,
bad.
I know that
But
Anna. I didn't know he
yeah,
was
but
a player.
she's 18.
Yeah,
She's
yeah, yeah.
won 140 matches or whatever, as you know, in the pickleball tournament. But
And
she has
she's from
chosen,
Boca.
is
She's from
she?
Boca. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Her
And
mom plays in my group. So
oh my goodness.
yeah, her mom
So
plays
she was
in,
bred, you know, to like, come
yeah.
on, we're gonna dominate.
We went
So
to one tournament and we didn't even know how the thing was handled,
yeah.
the score you have to have. So they place you, you know, we got kicked like bad. So we said, let's just do open play. And we think we're stars when we play and that's cool with
That's
us.
right.
Yeah, that's for us. But we do play every day. I'm going to say this. It helps a ton to do exercise when you leave your job,
Yes.
especially food manufacturing, because food manufacturing has so many details. You have no idea. There's always a new task, especially
Yeah.
when you're doing certifications, you know, or when you're uh, bringing new clients. I mean, always, always. So we usually leave the office around 4. We go to the house, get ready, and go get out and play. If we don't do that, then that's not a good day.
Yeah. Is it, do you guys have a pickleball name? Team name?
No, we don't. We don't. We should.
You
That's a
should.
good one.
You should
Yeah.
get t-shirts named
Yeah,
and,
we
you know,
should.
made with all that. Put Inbite all over it.
We will. We do sponsor a lot, like cookies, bagels. I mean, the we play in a park, um, and everybody there. Every time we get there, you didn't bring any cookies. Do you have cookies?
You're like, that's what you're known for. Like, come on, you're supposed to be bringing
Exactly, not the
all the
plane.
goodies.
Yeah.
Um, okay, if you could change two things moving ahead, like to hit your goals, what two things would you change to be able to, you know, to make your goals to be successful?
Hmm. I'd say one, very likely, pick up another. I mean, bring in either a group of partners or another partner, because
Mm,
that helps a ton in growth. Okay. Um, either and we're thinking about it right now. Either if it's an angel investor that you need or a group of
okay.
investors, but that they join the company.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there's a ton of things that two heads cannot handle in growth,
Yeah.
or at least at the stage of growth we're at. And I'm not saying by this that we're, I don't know, a car hill company,
Right.
but in every growth, you have your challenges. And what I've seen on the stages that we've been through is that at this point, I would love to have a partner or some partners
Mm.
that would help us think out of the box some things that because we come from the same career,
Right.
we don't have different eyes.
Yeah.
What we've done to solve this is right now, I'm going to say the whole family has joined the company,
So your
like
kids are now involved.
my kids, my
Mm.
sister, my cousin, even my mother-in-law. Well, she works here, right? But that has helped give us a new perspective and vision, helped us with design, helped
Mm.
us with our pitches. You know, one of the, I say one of the, how do you call it in golf? Well, one of the things we don't handle properly for Giancarlo and myself, we don't think in English, right? We think
Mm.
in Spanish and maybe in other languages, like
Right.
Giancarlo might think some days in Italian, right? So we're translating constantly what we're going to say. And
Right.
when I write something on an email or when I think of what to say or a speech, it's very likely that I'm not going to say the way you say it because I
Mm.
wasn't born here, right?
Right.
So I have my daughter correcting
Mm.
that all the time. She's pretty involved in our sales pitch, investor pitch, whatever pitches we have. My son too. And we have 3 kids. So right now, once a month, we have a conversation with all 3 of them regarding the troubles we're going into,
Yeah.
and seeing their perspective already from grown up, because I say kids, but my youngest is 22 already.
Yeah.
And
They're in the workforce. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
This is good
So
lessons for them in family.
yeah, and right
Yeah.
now they acknowledge that, right? And they're more willing to listen to the stories.
Mm.
We're also more willing to have their advice, and we
Mm.
consider a blessing because it's really point on. Like every time they say something, we're like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, cool. So they're participating. Like I said, I have a cousin, she has a design agency
Mm.
and she's doing all the job.
Yeah.
My sister is all into communications. Um, so the family's participating while we look for how we're going to do our next phase of
Yeah.
growth.
How do
And
you
that's a blessing.
yeah. I mean, so in Boca Raton, how is the business kind of ecosystem as far as like, startup and in the manufacturing? Or do you find that you guys brought your family and you leaned on family, which is wonderful. That's so positive. Are there other people in the community, or do you feel like there's not
Mm.
that ecosystem isn't
I
is
think,
closed off or
okay, I'm going to say this. The ecosystem in South Florida has
yeah.
changed greatly. Like
Mm.
when we started, I don't think there were any entrepreneur groups or groups like that.
Right.
Now you find plenty.
Yeah.
Okay. Um, for us participating, because they're mainly in Miami, is hard
Mm.
because we have to drive to Miami after work. We try eventually to get involved in some things, right? We are more involved right now in Boca in
Mm.
dealing with, let's say, events that are up here, like running events and meeting the
Right.
people we have around. Like, for instance, meeting mentors here in Boca through
Mm.
SCORE, which is, by the way, a great
It
organization.
is. Yeah. And it's in
Okay.
every community. I don't think
I don't
a lot of
think a lot of
entrepreneurs don't
entrepreneurs
know
know
that.
about it.
Yeah.
And you have free mentorship plus free everything because they
Mhm.
they they always have events online, okay? And in any state you're at, they're really useful. I love SCORE. It's helped us, by the way, with SBA loans and
Right.
SBA, whichever it is that you need. The city of Boca is not an industrial city.
Hmm.
So we're like, let's say growing here is going to be pretty hard.
Mm.
We're not thinking it's going to happen. We think actually that we right now we have 6,000 square foot, and we think that this is about what we're going to find here.
Yeah.
Okay. We have already been looking in other places in Florida and in North Carolina, South
I was
Carolina.
like, oh, yeah, come our way.
Yeah, we're trying to see which one. Last year we were a lot in North Carolina.
Mm.
What didn't help is that we were looking exactly for a food facility
Yeah.
because it would help us move ahead in time.
Versus having to rebuild something that's
Exactly.
already kind of established.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, we were trying to save some money in rebuilding,
Right.
right? Um, what I like about being up north, either South Carolina or North Carolina, is it's really good position geographically in the United States because
Mm.
you feel like you're in the middle and you could basically ship anywhere.
Right.
That's not, let's say, the best part of being in Florida because
Mm-hmm.
we're the last state any truck is going to come in and come out. Fortunately enough, trucks leave Florida pretty empty, so shipping is not that expensive.
Mm.
What attaches us maybe to staying in Florida is that we have all the permits here. You know, doing
Yeah.
permits is going to be pretty quick.
Mm.
But let's see how things play.
Yeah.
We think that we are going to have to move from Boca, but maybe it's West Palm or maybe it's, I don't know, Orlando. We already found a facility that's near Orlando and we're evaluating if that's going to be the place.
Mm.
It's about triple the space that we have right now. And we're trying to figure out how to do it.
The new level, new devil. There you go, Anna.
Exactly. Again,
Um, so if we met a year from now, what would we be celebrating?
a year from now,
Yeah.
a year,
For
a year past or ahead.
no, a year from now, and in 2026, summer of
Oh,
2026, what are we celebrating?
well, we should be celebrating a new Inbite in more capacity um, that has accomplished what we phrase like "you will never miss gluten again." So that has
Oh,
accomplished the fact that even if you're not a celiac, you're going to want to eat my bagel, my donut, my brownie, my cookie.
right.
Okay. And also that has been already certified SQF and is working smoothly with the
And you
system.
got a new manufacturing facility. We're going to be
Exactly.
celebrating a lot of stuff.
We
Yeah.
should. We should.
What's the best piece of advice that you've ever received from maybe another, mentor or, advisor that you really took to heart that you want to share with others?
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that one. Don't be so stubborn. It's not helping you.
Did you
That
someone
one.
tell that to you?
I took it to heart. I was like, I didn't like it. Uh, and then and then I started thinking about it. Like the minute they told me that, and it was a client of mine,
Mm,
okay, that it was a bigger bakery than we
yeah,
are. And and he didn't mean it in a bad way. He meant it in
yeah,
a good way, but I didn't take it nice. So I went like, you know, but then I did start thinking about it and I was like, yeah, I am stubborn and sometimes it doesn't work.
yeah, yeah. It's like I always have to tell people, and tell myself too. I gotta keep an open heart, keep an open mind, um, and you got to think like, what's the goal?
Yeah.
Bring clarity. Why am I doing this? What do I hope to accomplish with this?
Do you think
But
that
you're right.
happens?
It's hard to
Do you
to
think
tell
that
yourself.
happens within, I don't want to say this in the bad way, within aging of being entrepreneur that you
Yeah.
meditate more about these
Yeah.
things? Because I
Oh
have
yeah.
been. I have been
Yeah.
a lot.
I think I've done more self I know self reflection
Hmm.
in my journey. Like I hit I think a wall in 2019, 2020, another huge wall in 2022, um, and really had to kind of do a self assessment of who am I and how do I want to lead, how do I want to show up, what is my company, Am I doing things right? And you, because there's so many, you're up at nights, brain sweats and tears and thinking
Yeah.
and and it's like, how do you clear that junk, and how do you stay focused, and it takes work, to get to a place where you can think with more clarity.
And I think it's nice to talk about it because
Yeah.
many people think you have to be tough, and be stubborn
Right.
and perseverance and whichever it is that we like, because everybody wants to be, I don't know, a hot star saying, the right phrase. But like you, I've been meditating a lot
Mm.
about not mistakes, but actually things that move me towards the future. Because we can be here envisioning Inbite, but Inbite is made out of people,
Right.
and it's made out of its founders, it's made out of its workers. And right now, I'm going to say, where is Inbite right now? The founders of Inbite. And we're in that phase where we're thinking a lot of what we want to become as people more than as a company.
Right.
Okay. And how we want to put this into the future as as people, not as a company.
Right. It's like, how do we show up in relation to the company?
Yes,
And
yes,
and I think
yes.
a lot of founders, we work with a lot of founders, of the company is one thing, right? The brand and what it means. But we work with a lot of founders and CEOs of, like, you have a personality too. You have, also dreams that sometimes aren't the same. And how do you show up in, uniquely,
Yeah,
so you have a path, and sometimes it's in complement, or in conjunction with the company brand, and sometimes one kind of goes off, sometimes it's purposeful, and a lot of I think have to, we help sort through
no,
that
and I
mental
think,
junk and the mental
yeah, and
energy. And so it's because it's weighs on people. I mean, you can see it in their, at least we do, and we're like helping them with their brand, and all of a sudden we're listening and watching their body language respond to things, whether it's heavy thoughts or they light up.
exactly,
And sometimes it's not always around the company stuff, it's around things that are very personal. And
exactly.
we try to celebrate that and go, okay, that's not a bad thing. Like, it's okay. We all need to know that, and put those paths, put those plans in action, and put the, um, give that clarity. And you're right. It's like it's uncovering. We call our branding workshops, both for the company brands. We call them brand therapy,
Well,
because
that's a nice one.
because
Yeah,
it is
yeah.
very, I did one for a company in Kansas, this week, and it was like, 50 of all their managers, directors, and they were so afraid. They were like, "Am I going to get in trouble?" I'm like, "No, but we're just going to uncover. We're trying to bring alignment and clarity to where this organization is going." But we also do the same thing around founders and CEOs, of like helping them understand their leadership style, their personal brand, and we call it the Joy Lab
Oh my, good.
for them,
Hmm.
and really understanding kind of their voice and their style. Um, and it doesn't always have to be, and it shouldn't be 100% the company brand. If it,
Exactly,
you know,
exactly.
so yeah, it is.
Yes,
It
it is
is therapy.
therapy. We all need it, by the
we
way.
we
I think social media exacerbates the contrary of how real life is. You mentioned
Yeah.
bumping into walls, and reflecting when you hit those walls. And social media is like nobody hits the walls. I
I
don't.
know you're only seeing the good things, or we see in a lot of ecosystems, like the innovation ecosystems, the cities or the economic development, partners or whatever, they're only lifting up the 1%, the unicorns in the market.
Exactly.
And so that's why we created Orange Whip and why we do the Hello Chaos podcast, is because we felt the broader spectrum
Mhm.
of entrepreneurship and creators and founders weren't really being seen or heard and talked about. And then because then people weren't engaging in the ecosystem. And I
Exactly.
would sit with these organizations, they're like, I don't understand why everyone doesn't come to these events. Why is it always the same, like 50 people or 100 people that come to all the events? And it's like, because you're only talking about the
1%.
even out of that, you're only lifting up the 10 of these companies or the 10 of
Yeah,
these founders, and there's 10,000 that don't see themselves in the picture that you're putting up there. And
exactly.
so, how do we talk about this and talk about the realness of, it's not easy and it's not for everybody either.
Yeah,
Um,
100%. I'm 100% there with you. Yeah,
and that's okay. We
and
all
that's
have
okay.
choices, and um, to engage and stuff. So that's our goal, is to help build a more connected kind of founder community, entrepreneurial community.
That's
To,
beautiful.
yeah, to lean on each other, to learn from each other, and not feel so alone, but also just be seen and heard by people that look like us.
Absolutely. I love it.
Um, so okay, before we go, what if you had to choose a word that defined your journey as a founder? What word do you choose?
Wild.
Wild.
It's been wild, adventurous. I mean, I always remember our first entrepreneurship called Nomad because I
Mhm.
feel it's been that way.
Yeah.
A nomad is constantly moving, pivoting. That's how I feel.
Should have been nomad, should have been the word.
It should have. Yeah.
See, you knew from the beginning what your journey was going to be like. You
Likely, yes.
predicted. Okay, so next chapter. What do you wish your word would be?
God, that's a good one because I think I'm peaceful.
Mm,
I need um peace in my mind. I've been thinking about the future more like giving, okay?
yeah.
And I made a promise to myself that I hope I can accomplish, which is I would like to someday go back to my country
Mm,
and leave there my knowledge for people to continue developing gluten-free formulas and products. At the same time, teaching with the help of Giancarlo
mm,
for these people to understand how to manufacture gluten-free because it's a whole different product. It's not
right.
the gluten containing one. And you need to treat it different. And I'm not saying that I'm not willing to do it here in US. I am. US for us is our home.
Mm,
It's our country now. And we feel blessed to be here. But there's a part of me that I would love to do it there. It would mean peace for me.
mm,
It would mean leaving to this country part of what it gave me. And I need to somehow do it. That's
yeah.
how I see myself in the
The
future.
giving back. Yeah.
Yes.
I love
Let's see.
that.
I'll tell you if I reach that point.
Yeah. the, we'll hopefully that's in a, like, 5 year plan, 3 year plan.
Oh
We're
well.
gonna we're gonna manifest
I,
it out
I,
there.
I hope. I said to myself, you don't have to live there, but if you are able to give this people after so many years of bad bad news and
Mm,
sorrowness in that country, a new beginning, I'd love
a
to do.
hope. Yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. Anna, thank you so much for hanging
Yeah,
out with us. Before we go, where can people get a hold of you or connect with you and learn more about Inbite,
sure,
and how to support you?
sure. So if you're looking for Invite, the webpage is www.invite.us. If you're looking for Anna, you can mainly find me on LinkedIn, Ana Rodriguez Fortun. You can also search for Invite. You're going to find me there. I do engage in a lot of conversations there, and I do engage in posting things about gluten-free products, ingredients, companies,
Mhm.
or any other sort of thing that has to do with food and nutrition. And then my email is Anna, ANA, at Inbite.us.
Very good. And that's Inbite, right?
Yes.
Invite.
Yes, that's
Yeah. Oh, fantastic! And we'll tag everything and when we publish this episode, which is available on all your favorite podcast platforms. But that's a wrap on today's chaos. But the journey doesn't stop here. If you found yourself nodding along, laughing, or maybe even yelling the same at Anna, make sure to subscribe, share, and leave us that 5-star review on Spotify or Apple. You can dig deeper into founder resources, tools, and more episodes over at orangewhip.com. And that's orange, WIP.com. Until next time, stay curious, stay scrappy, and reminder, we're all a work in progress. We're out of time. Always amazed at how fast these things go, and we will see you again next week.